All right, y'all. Welcome back to the channel. I got my special guest. This is actually a really special guest because this is Joshua Taimoor Nana. And before we get to it, everything that you're seeing me create and everything that I've been creating and expediting and accelerating here in Austin comes from this guy.
Oh,
and I know you won't accept it, but I want to share this with you. It's like, I met you in COVID. You didn't know me. Somebody introduced us, but you saw me and you felt something in me. And I don't know what that was, but I greatly appreciate it. And that's what today, when you said you're in Austin, I was like, I got to get you on this podcast because you have so much knowledge and wisdom to share with people. I'm just going to let you talk because I think you taught me more in 5 years than I could learn in 34.
Yeah, that's fine. Man, I appreciate that. Thanks so much. It was funny. Last night I was sitting around with my daughter, and by a twist of fate, we're like, let's go to Austin in the morning. So I hit you up at 7:30 this morning. I'm like, hey, dude, I'm flying down to Austin. Just going to be there for 12 hours. Then I'm flying back out. And I hit you up, and then here we are. So it's a funny, fortuitous thing.
And I saw the text, and I was like, I texted you a month ago, and I was like, and there's the response I needed. And when I saw it, I was like, this is so meant to be. And it was like, one of my intentions was like, how can I surprise you? And it's like, I got to give you a little bit of clues, but I still got to get you here. But it's like, let's talk about your philosophies, who you are and what you do. Like, you used to do the TV show.
Yeah.
But now you have a very eclectic life.
Yeah. I mean, I think I try to follow my passions, whatever they might be, and just kind of live without regrets. I think that's like the biggest thing that I try to go for. I mean, as you and I have talked about ad nauseum, I think one of my greatest fears is being, 89 years old, laying on my deathbed and being surrounded by these ghosts of what regrets could have been.
Yeah.
And it's just something that would eat me alive. So, I try to open all the doors that I can and chase down what really excites me. And been an entrepreneur for 23 years and done a bunch of wild things in between and adventured all over the world. And I think that's been a really interesting life so far. And I think that, with the ability to travel like you have,
well,
you take stuff away from all these different places.
Let's talk about your lifestyle, because I think it's something until we went to Guatemala, I didn't get to see you in action of it. But even watching you and Wayne, we got to get Wayne on this thing too.
Yeah.
But it's watching you guys work, I learned how to work. And it was but we're traveling and doing dope stuff. But it's you're a manufacturer.
Yeah.
You're starting a new ranch idea.
Yeah.
You have a couple houses, but
Yeah.
you live very frugally.
Yeah.
But you travel all the time.
Yeah.
And it's once I saw how you lived, and I went to Bali last year, and I was literally 10 steps from the North Shore.
Yeah.
Dude, I had it all. And I was in a room with a desk and a roommate, and we had one closet and an outside bathroom. I didn't need anything else. I didn't need gas stations. I had it all. And I remember that moment. I was like, Josh is already doing this.
Yeah. I mean, so I think you bring up a really interesting point. If you do what you love, you might as well do it in a place that you love too.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you start stripping away all these superfluous things that we really don't need in life, and you get down to the core tenets of what it is that drives you as an individual, and you start serving those masters while doing something you love, then work becomes a lot of fun, right? And I'm constantly working 24 hours a day, but even today, I'm out here in Austin checking stuff out, and I'm like, man, this is such a cool idea. That's a cool idea. How can we integrate this into what we're doing? And I think travel is really important because it just broadens your horizons as to what is available, right?
Yep.
We're not living inside of a bubble. We're living on planet Earth, and I want to go see as much of it as I can and take away as much of it as I can, and try to impart that wisdom into my own life and what I'm doing.
Yeah, and they call that transformational travel. It's you go to certain spots in the world, or even astrocartography. You have specific areas that life happens.
Yeah.
Austin's my Mercury line, which is partnerships and communication. I started a podcast and met a dope network here.
Yeah.
But it's even you said something really key that I actually picked up here when I felt it and was in it, was yesterday is a great example. I'm all over the place. I got way more to do than time I have.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
And it's I remember you saying when you find alignment, you're busier than ever. You got too much to do, but you feel good about it.
Yeah.
Dude, I had one day like that, and I'm I'm in the slot. And it was just passively picking that up for me.
I mean, you're in a zone, and if you're in the zone, accomplishing what your end state goal is or your milestone goal, then that's the best thing that could be, right? You're flow stating, towards the goal of what you want to be. So, I mean, like, that's it. Like I used to say all the time, I mean, like when I first started off, like when I was 22, started a company, I was cold calling, and it was like, it sucked. But you know what? It was like every cold call was like a no, getting closer to a yes.
Yep.
And I think fondly of those days still.
And it's not about pass or failure. Like we talked about this on an episode yesterday. It's like if you look at it as pass and failure, you fail.
Yeah.
But if you look at it as an experiment, all you're doing is gaining knowledge and information. Because it's like, now, how much is that, cold calling important in your job? And it's like, we all stack skills.
Yeah, 100%.
But if when you sample and accumulate and become a master of a master, like you get the world as your oyster. Now it's a playground.
And look, I think it's always every day you're learning more and more and more. There's never an end to knowledge. It's impossible to know everything. And I don't even pretend to know everything. Actually, the more I know, the more I realize the less I know.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important, that like every day is a learning adventure, and there's a way to get something out of that day that you didn't know the day before. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the amazing part of life, is that like, it's a series of experiences that happen, and I don't know. I mean, so it's fun. So travel, it's come back travel. I'm going to Antarctica in 2 weeks.
When South or North Pole?
Antarctica down the south.
Yeah, down by Chile.
Yeah, I'm going down to Chile, and then we're flying over the Drake Passage, landing in Antarctica, and I'm going to spend like a week down there.
Are you staying in the snow globe domes, the geodomes?
We're staying on a boat, so we're going to go around Antarctica and like follow the migration of penguins and stuff. And like, I'm really looking forward to that. Like, one, I've never been there. It's another continent on my list, but also I think just for the time like alone in the landscape, it's supposed to be really awesome. And like, I think, that kind of comes back to this like ranch idea of like, I've gotten to a point at 46 where I'm like really loving like open spaces, like, and letting like the knowledge that I've accumulated percolate through my brain and think about it in different ways.
Yeah, I feel that you're shifting into your greatest timeline in your life. I feel like it's
I hope
like applied philosophy. Like you've lived it and you've written the copyright as you lived, and now it's time to reflect and like, what is the ethos of everything? It's like, let's even like jump to something real quick. It's like WKNDR Collective.
Yeah.
You guys created the dopest shirt company that we're actually bringing to life in 2026.
Yeah.
I found I needed a graphic designer. This dude Oscar showed up in my life.
Yeah.
He also starts social circles and used to do a pyramid scheme. And I'm like, this is a different style of pyramid. It's reverse, but I think you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I met him, I was so excited because it's like, anybody I show those shirts to, the symbol, the personal development inside the left, and even on my journey, like, I don't think I've told you this, but like when I was wearing the Ripple shirt, I was making little momentums of like the ripple to create the big wave. It's like on the day that I was hiding in the shadow of like, I don't want to do it, but I need to. I'm wearing the mountain shirt, and it's like, step out of the shadow and start climbing.
I mean, that's just it. Like, when you're like, you don't want to do something, like, because it's hard or it's going to be uncomfortable. That's like all the more reason you just got to do it, right? Like,
and by thinking about it, you're already working on it. So just apply action to it and not philosophy.
That's the biggest thing, right? Like, we can sit here and we can listen to, all this podcasts and David Goggins and everything, but it's just like, go out and take the first step. And the first step of 1,000 miles is like literally the first step. And once you take action, the path becomes a lot clearer of what you're supposed to be on. You know what I mean? And so to me, I think that, that was way back when we made these shirts, and it was almost just like a homage to like helping motivate people just to do things, right? Because like, I think that if we take action in what we're doing, then like we get closer to the truth of what we're actually looking for.
And can we talk about the manufacturing?
Yeah.
So in Guatemala, like something I noticed, like I know I was down there filming with you and whatnot as like a client, but we're still friends, but it's like the ethos behind the factory in Guatemala, like experience, like you told me all about it, but being there and seeing like the prenatal for like you guys treat them ethically very well compared to like manufacturing in general. And it's like, even knowing the shirts and the factory and you, and like seeing that all the way to the root, I think that's an important part of who you are and how you live.
Yeah, I think that like, look, if anything that like I want to touch, I want to do it like in a way that is like holistically good, not just for myself, but for everybody. And like in the most simplest of like deals, if it's a win-win, then like everyone wins, right? Exactly. And like that's the best deals, right? So like when we look at like the people in the factory, like I look at them as like people that are part of a greater family, and like they're producing product for us, and like the better we take care of them, the better they're taking care of the quality of product. And it's this symbiotic circle that just keeps going around and around and around. So like, yeah, like these people, like, we feed them, like we make sure they have transportation, like, like they all can take like days off. Like if the moms become pregnant, they get prenatal,
Yeah,
like,
you got the
thing.
cantina for them where they have cheap options to spend their
100%.
money.
And like we
and
set
it's-
up like a healthcare system
Yeah.
inside the hospital, and even like a daycare now.
Yeah.
So like just because like someone gets pregnant, has a kid, like they can bring their kid to work and they can go to the daycare and they can still work. And like I think that's part of the circle of life, and it comes out like in the products that we make. There's a lot of love in them. And you know what? Like there's nothing perfect. When we see an error, when they see an error in something, they raise their hand. They're like, hey, this isn't right. We got to fix this, that, and the other. Whereas in other factories, sometimes they're like, well, these guys don't care about me. I don't really care about this. So like,
Yeah, that was me and Amazon. Like a package open, and I'm like, great, one less one to stow.
Yeah.
Because it's like Bezos is impatient, so he's creating a solution for impatience. But I'm also like, this guy's making billions, and I'm making $20. He doesn't care about me. I'm a number. He's going to replace me. Versus like, it's like when people feel supported, they'll support you. But when they don't feel supported, it's like, yeah, it's another sad customer. Oh well.
And I think that like what we all touch like certain people throughout the course of our day, and like my general like outlook on life is like, I don't really care if it's a waiter, a doorman, a CEO, or anyone. Like we're all people, right?
It's a
like,
person.
And we just got to like interact with everything. And I think one of my like talents is like I can really wrap down with anybody, and just like sit there and talk to them and like be at their level, because I've been at like all the levels there. Like I used to be a waiter, like I used to mow yards.
Yeah, you pulled me into YPO,
Yeah.
like to film, and it's like, even like something I want to blow your mind with is I went out to an event here. I met a dude. He was wearing a golf hat, always a good omen for me. And I was like, let's play. So I hit him up the next morning. And I was like, you want to play? There's a 9-hole course, like a walk from here. He's like, no, I'll come to the gym. I'm lifting with this guy Zach, and I'm like, I don't know Zach, but I know Zach. So I went. I was like wearing gym clothes, and I was like, well, it's almost like predetermined. So I went. Next thing you know, we go to an event at this place called the Hive here. There's this guy who walks in, and he's got 2 kids, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, yeah, I got these 2 little wizards with me. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, I understand what he's saying. So then somebody goes, dude, that's Ryan Daniel Moran. So he helped launch Native Deodorant, On It, and Bulletproof Coffee, and like all the other like really healthy brands.
Yeah.
And I also read his book or listened to it, 12 Months to 1 Million.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, what reality am I living in to see Ryan Daniel Moran? But it is also like this dude goes, hey, go talk to him. And I'm like, I don't need to talk to him. He's an entrepreneur. He knows he wrote a really good book.
Yeah.
So all I'm going to tell is tell him what he already knows. So I was like, dude, he's an entrepreneur who's busting his butt. He's here with his kids. I'll see him soon.
Yeah.
And I got the greatest omen from that event is like what I'm becoming is like the Ryan Daniel Moran of my ecosystem that I plugged into here, but I'm also creating a new node.
Yeah, and you create your own reality, right?
Yeah.
Too, right? Like your perception is your reality, and I think that the way the energy you put out is the energy you get back, right? So like if you look at it from that, then I think you're exactly right that like, there's a law of attraction. And I think like you manifest stuff. And I think that like for me, like every morning, like I sit there for the first 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds of every morning before I do anything and just think of things I have gratitude for. And it's like so simple, right? Like, but if you practice that like gratitude of like, hey man, I got a roof over my house.
Yeah.
Like I got food in my fridge. My kids are healthy.
Yep.
Like if you do that, it changes your whole reality of what like.
Yeah, they call that the RAS, the reticular activating system. What you focus on is what you see. So if I'm like, I'm thinking about a gold, Range Rover Defender, I'm going to see 100 of them because my mind's focusing on it. But as soon as you see it, that's like a clue to like, what do you want in your life to bring in now? So think about it. You're going to see it, be positively delusional, and always take the high side. Yeah. It'll manifest. It's like a frequency.
So it's kind of funny that you said that. Like one of the things I do for fun is I fly planes. And when we're landing the plane, right, like or when I'm landing the plane, like the way that you're trained is you stare at the spot on the runway that you want to land at. Never take your eyes off. If you're turning, you're always watching it. And basically wherever you are looking, you will follow and go towards that direction. And you can apply that to life too.
I applied that to baseball as a kid. I never took my eyes off the catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I threw a bunch of strikes.
Yeah.
Let's pivot a little bit. What's your Ikigai? So one of the most profound books. I remember I was so stuck. And you're like, you've got to read this book, Ikigai. And you even are like, it's a 1-day read. Dude, I read it in an hour because I started and I was like, oh my God, this book just solves all my life problems.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like, I'm glad you liked it. I've given that book out to like 20 people. I think it's like so important to read. And, Ikigai is this Japanese philosophy of living a long, happy, healthy life. And, the author Hector Garcia that wrote the book,
It's simple.
It's simple, right? It's a Venn diagram of, you go read the book, but I think that, where I'm at right now in my life, my Ikigai is to create sustainable regenerative, systems, specifically around like farming and ranching. Like that's really what I'm called for. I'm called towards. And like, it's funny, like, you were mentioning about work, like I'll go out there and work, with the ranch hands for the whole day. And like, these guys are tough as nails. And at the end of the day, I am sitting there, I am so jazzed up. I'm like, man, that was just awesome. Like I learned so much, and like, I get to go like look at it through a different lens than these guys that have like been doing the same thing.
Yeah, they do it every day.
Yeah, for 50 years. And it was the way that their fathers taught them and their grandfathers taught them and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, hey guys, so what if we do it like da-da-da-da? And they're like, well, we never really thought about it like that, And so I think like, this whole rotational grazing and like looking at the soils and looking at the grasses and figuring out like the content of like the protein in certain grasses and which ones are going to grow in the best climates. And
it's like biotech at its essence, like at the root of it all, because it's like if you grow strawberries in the same garden, those strawberries have zero nutrients, but they still produce a fruit.
It's so funny. Like one of the things that like we found this year, and we did this big experiment, was that in basically a goat and a sheep's natural like eating, they're usually short on selenium. And so what we did was we added selenium and I forget what the other one was, another natural mineral into their diet. And what it does is it basically tells the sheep and goat that it's okay to produce more offspring, because like now they have everything that they need in order to produce. So the birth rates, went from 1.2 to like 1.8 this season. And these old ranchers were like, man, like you added like $100 worth of like minerals to their feed, and like the output is like vastly greater.
Yeah, but it's like even the micronutrients are more important than the macros, because it's like if you don't have zinc, then their reproductive will go down, then their endocrine goes down, and it's like people are focused on fats, proteins, and carbs, and it's like go smaller, go simpler.
It's simpler than that, and like just this whole concept of rotational grazing. And then like I'm working on a project now where we're trying to like, I'm going off on a tangent here.
No, I'm connecting it. It's like you build ecosystems because you do have four key pillars.
One of the things that's really interesting to me is that like, when we have pastures, right? And like, we're dependent on the rain, right? Like in Texas, you guys are super dependent on the rain. In Missouri, you're dependent on the rain also, right? If it rains a lot, the grass is going to grow a lot. So I started thinking about this and like, how do you like are able, because you're limited to how many animals you can have based on, how much grass you can grow.
Yep.
And so as I was sitting there and like going back in the day when I was mowing yards, I was like looking around my house and I'm like, man, all these yards are fertilized and they have sprinkler systems and this grass is so lush and so green. Like, how do we like take this and give it to farmers?
Yeah, it's called a golf course, but if you put a goat on it, it's called a goat ranch.
Yeah. So like, basically we're working on a new project right now where we've gone to like 3 or 4 different lawn companies that are taking all the grass clippings and they're throwing in a dump.
I love this.
And what I teamed up with a guy that does probiotics. And what we're doing is we're taking the grass clippings, we're putting it in a big container, putting probiotics over it. It breaks the grass down into breaking it down to get rid of all like the pathogens and everything else that could potentially be bad. And then basically taking a compactor, compacting it down into cubes, and then loading on a truck, and then just taking it out. And basically, like within the course of 1 week, it's the equivalent of like 500 acres worth of grass.
Yeah, because you're literally compressing it and simplifying it, because that's the one thing. Animals are primary producers, right? Yeah. So it's like they eat the grass, but if you give them nothing but the best element, that's all they absorb, and they're going to produce more for the secondary 100%. Producers.
And on the other side, is the landscape guys are happy because they're saving a trip to the dump.
Yeah.
The landfill's great because we're not throwing away like green grass into the landfill that's just like decomposing. So, but we're taking this resource that basically has zero value, actually a negative value, and we're taking it and we're going to go put it at the farm, and it's just going to be able to like basically take a 100-acre pasture and make it the equivalent of like a 500-acre pasture by not changing the landscape. So that is like something that's really interesting to me, is like, how can we be more efficient? Everyone's talking about AI and efficiencies and stuff like that. And look, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm totally down with that too.
But it doesn't. I know what you're getting at.
But like at the root, there's like humans involved in this kind of stuff. And like, there may be an AI lawnmower that's like mowing the grass, but we're still taking those grass clippings.
And I think that the most important thing with AI is like there's two people who see it. It's like this can do everything for me, or this
Yeah.
can do all the stuff I don't want to do, so I can be more human.
Yeah.
And it's like that's how I've embodied it. And the creatives around me are like, let's do all the mindless skills with AI and
Yeah.
automate it so that we can spend more time
Yeah.
around people. Because I believe it's here to create more emotional connection.
Yeah.
Which is like the biggest thing I learned from you the last time I talked to you at
Yeah.
Woodside was like I was trying to sell features and I was like, oh no, you're after emotional connection.
Yeah.
And as soon as I switched that one, it's like life unfolded.
Yeah, I mean, like it's all. I mean, and I think that ties into like what you're emotionally connected to too as a person, right? Like there are no two people in this world that are the same. But going back to your point about AI, look, like AI is going to boil down to a few things. Like one, it's either going to allow growth. Two, it's going to allow like you to have time to have more human connection, the way that you're talking about. Or three, it's going to allow you time just to fuck off. Like,
Yep.
you know, like one of those three. It actually, what I'd argue is it's a combination of the three, right? Because like, you know, how we're trying to look at AI is take the 30-40% of stuff that people don't like to do, automate that, let them do what they're really good at, and then have that extra time to like build the human connection. Like, great, now that you have 30% of your day back, like, hey, let's think about how we can help our clients more. Like, let's think about things outside of the box more. Like, let's think about the things that you like to do, and let's focus in on that, like, and key in on like your zone, like what really like drives you. And like that way, I think AI is like this amazing, like, you know, technology that like we barely scrape the surface of. And like, it's just, it's more radical than what the internet is.
Yep. I think you're way ahead of your time because it's so cool. Because in Austin, it's like not a one-man show. It's like you're good at 5% of the pie, find the rest 95%, but
Yeah.
focus on your thing. When I learned that, it
Yeah.
was incredible because though I have all these gifts, I love collaboration,
Yeah.
adventure travel,
Yeah.
and like metaphysics in general.
Yeah.
And it's like when I do those three things, my life is wild and I can help people beyond what I can do alone, right?
Right.
And then it's like, but I also hate running brands. So my new offer has them running the brand, the
Yeah.
founder, and I get to be the creative genius because that's my 5%.
Yeah.
But it sounds like as a whole, we got 7 more minutes left here.
Yeah.
7 short 7 minutes. It's
Yeah.
like, it sounds like your Ikigai. You kind of walked me through it. It's like building ecosystems and creating impact as a conscious creator.
Yeah, and I think that like a conscious creator builds ecosystems in everything you do. Like I got the opportunity to talk to James Clear, Atomic Habits.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's
And-
dope, dude.
yeah.
That book's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. He's a-
Replace the bad habit with a good one.
Yeah, and he's a super nice guy. But like, I think that like as we're all creators of our own world, right? Like, so if we can make it in a sustainable way, like ecosystems have to be sustainable in order to continue to perpetuate themselves,
Yep.
right? Like, if it's not sustainable, by definition, it's
Yeah,
not going to continue
Literally,
on.
Dubai and Singapore, two great ecosystems
Yeah,
in the world.
I mean, I was there in like Dubai when it was all sand, and now it's something else, and they built this whole ecosystem. But like, I think like the thing about Atomic Habits is that like you're building an ecosystem for yourself on a micro level of what your habits are. But I think that like as humans and as we get into this AI, it's like we have to build ecosystems that are sustainable to each one of us, right?
Yeah.
Like what drives us, and like. Look, I don't know if Elon Musk is right that like work is going to be optional in 20 years or not.
He knows a lot of stuff.
He knows a lot of stuff. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if that's like a reality or like if it's a false time horizon. But like
He's
that.
plugged in.
That being said, like I think it comes back to the same point of like you have to find an ecosystem and make it sustainable for yourself and what you're doing in order to perpetuate it. And I think that ties back into Ikigai, right? Like because
Yeah.
you got to do what you love and what you can pay for.
Yeah, if I had to even tie this in, it's like I had a really big moment here, and I kind of unlocked a secret. Is like Burning Man to me is the future of the world because it's the barter system. It's
Yeah.
like it takes 4 elements: vulnerability,
Yeah.
love, trust, and connection.
Totally.
And I think my new belief is like I don't need money. Money is a tool to accelerate the process
Yeah.
and to buy me back free time.
Yeah.
But it's like when I have love, trust, vulnerability, and connection, I endlessly generate wealth that I can't explain how fast it comes in. And all I'm doing is staying in alignment and doing what I love.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
it's authenticity, right?
I mean, yeah. And I mean, I've spent 5 days at Burning Man, and it's like, and it's an amazing experience. And then, like, you know, I think that the takeaways from that are like really spiritual in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, many different levels.
But you know, I think that you do have a really valid point in that the bartering system and everyone getting along, and you know,
If I had to guess, all the billionaires are trying to rake up all the money so that the world is like, there's no more money, and they're like, we have it, we can be the kings, you can be the slaves, or it's like, we can figure out how to make Burning Man a reality.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like that's like way in the future, I think. But it's almost like the concept is like, if you have skills, you have connection, and you can work with people, what else do you need?
Yeah, and I think that like there's this other like thing that I just want to touch about in the last few minutes is that like I think that you can have a victim's mentality or you can have like a survivor move forward mentality. And like, I've met some people, older and younger that have this victim mentality that like something happened, like the crash of 2008 or COVID or I got out of college and didn't get a job or whatever. And like, there's a victim mentality that can just bog you down, or you can be like, hey, look, that happened. And like, we're going to move forward from here. And like, we're going to take this to the next level. And like, I learned a lot here. And like, I'm going to apply what I learned here and like not make that same mistake again. And I'm going to fall forward. And like,
I think it was every time we met, I was in my victim mentality, just flooded with emotions. And you're like, be a hero. Because I would say like my real belief on this is like everything in life happens.
Yeah.
But it's like we get to go up or down with it.
Totally.
And it's like if you go up with it, you're living in heaven. Heaven's the mind space that takes you to happiness or heaven or nirvana. And it's like hell is the opposite. Like you're the victim. You're endlessly viewing the world on the bottom when you can at the top. Because I think we all have the same talents and skills.
Yeah.
But it's how do you navigate life?
So I think you're so. I was at a dinner party last night, and like I had open heart surgery 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, incredible story.
Heart was turned off, like out of the blue. This weird thing happened. Like had to get a new valve put in, and like someone was like, "Oh my God, how horrible!" I'm like, "Actually, no. Like it wasn't horrible. It was really great." And they're like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "You have to understand that in any negative, there's always some positive, and in every positive, there's always some negative. And if you can focus on the positive in any negative, like you can." Totally transform that bad experience to a positive one. At the same token, every positive experience, there's a bad part in there too. And if you let like ego, fear, whatever it might be, if you let that overtake it, it ruins that experience. So it's like, I think that like, as we wrap this down and like leave, like, if you focus on the positive, no matter what the situation is, and like try to expand upon that and see that for what it is, like you can literally make your whole world a positive experience.
Yep.
And to me, that's like just a radical way of thinking, and like it's the way to be.
Yeah, it's the simplicity of life. I think you said it earlier. It's like the simpler you approach life, the easier it is. But the more complex, like the more complexity comes in. So it's like something happens, positive or negative.
Yeah.
And instead of chasing money, just chase love, connection, trust, and vulnerability.
Yeah. It's funny. This is a quote. It's like the negative man sees the world negative. The positive man sees the world positive. It's not the world that changes, the man.
Yep.
Right. And like, it's as simple as that.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
I say we end it there. So where can people find you online? Is it, because I know you sent me a link. I'm going to put that in the comments below.
Yeah.
And I leave this for the end because I'm like, the people only get the gold if they still stay till the end here.
I'm at Taimoor, Taimoor, Nana, Nana.
And that's what, your Instagram?
Yeah, my Instagram.
I say your Instagram's fire with all the philosophies and using AI in such a constructive way to put out a message very quickly.
Yeah, so that's been a fun project. I've been working on just kind of like a mental thought process, and then I write some longer stuff on Substack under Joshua Nana. So
and is that audiobook or Substack reading?
Substack reading, yeah.
Cool, perfect.
Yeah.
I'll have to show you some tricks on that too.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Well, perfect. Well,
Always
thank you guys for watching. Be sure to absorb everything this guy said. Like, he's literally taught me so much, and I'm excited to share this episode with you. Until next time, see you on the next one. Peace out.